Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday. It's the 30th day of December 2022. Believe that? We're almost done with the year of 2022 according to the Gregorian calendar. I hope you're healthy and safe today. Happy Friday to you all, and that your family's healthy and safe, and needs of you, your family, in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health, are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field and the first responders who are out here every day trying to save lives, and those that pick up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks and parks and highways clean, as well as those that make deliveries all the time for our convenience that we take for granted. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and the children who are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography. The victims also of sex trafficking, human trafficking, sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, double curses on the profiteers, double curses on the perverts that create this industry. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children, and mostly children, that are living on the streets of the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions, and blessings upon them. For theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night. The New York Knicks lost to the San Antonio Spurs. I was so disgusted by this loss. And I want to tell you, it started, there's a lot of subplots here. The first thing I want to say, though, is I am not one, as many of you would know by now, I'm not one to start crying fire Tibbs. I've heard that song for 50 years, and I'm tired of it. And I recognize when we have a good front office and a good coach. And Tibbs is a good coach. I know some of y'all don't agree. I was talking about Popovich yesterday. And some like, oh, Tibbs should take notes from Popovich. If Popovich coached in New York, y'all would be asking for him to be fired right now. Period. That's how bad y'all are in New York. Okay? It's not the coach. It's the fan base. And it's the media. But y'all still don't get that. But aside from that, there's a lot of subplots here. So let's start with Julius Randle. And to me, if you go back and look at the game, well, you have to look at the opening tip in the first 1 minute of the game, because that tells you a lot about how the game went. Julius Randle scored 41 points last night. He had 11 boards. He was 6 of 13 from 3. Offensively, he was tremendous. But I got to tell you the honest truth. He was the worst defensive outing he had this season in San Antonio. And it started in the opening tip. His man beat him down the floor, and he was jogging, and his man got a layup. And that's pretty much how it went the whole time. Now, one thing I did realize, some of you have been calling, because of the heavy minutes, the people playing, the kids are playing, they're tired, and I agree. And I agree that was the case. And one of the signs is that was Julius, because when Julius is trying to conserve his energy, he conserves it on the defensive end and saves it for the offensive end. And that's what he was doing last night. He was conserving his energy for the offense and for rebounding. And he was taking off on defense. And it wasn't like, if you look at, for example, San Antonio was 11 of 28 from the three-point line. The Knicks were 15 of 41. It wasn't like they was killing us from 3. They were getting to the basket on us. And that was a function of people like Randle letting people blow by them, conserving the energy. And so was Quickly, to be fair. And they were tired. Now, somebody said, well, Tibbs needs to go deeper into the bench. Let's back up for a second and take the emotion out of it. And this is, I do this. Some of y'all can't, and I understand, but I do this. Take the emotion out of it and look at it objectively, not with hate or with love. Just look at it objectively. The 9-man rotation is pretty standard in the NBA. It's standard. Most teams run the 9-man rotation. Most teams do. The losing teams generally don't. San Antonio only won, this is the 12th win. They ran last night a 10-man rotation. So sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 10. Very rarely is it 8. So Tom was running the 9-man rotation, but two important pieces of that rotation in Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett are missing. So he had to bring up other players. And wait a minute, and not only that, we're missing Obi, if we recall. So that's really three pieces of the 9-man rotation that's missing. So the Knicks and the Spurs were going back and forth in the beginning of the game. To give Mitchell Robinson was tired. He just was tired. I could see it. He played 28 minutes last night. He didn't score, and it was because he didn't have no energy. He really didn't. He was doing his best defensively, and he was the best we had at the 5 last night defensively. When Tibbs put Hartenstein, Fournier, and Rose in the game, the Spurs, and I mean immediately, went on a run. Immediately. And you could see, look at the plus minuses. Okay, so for the starting unit, only Julius Randle at -2 and quickly at -12 were negative. Robinson was +9, McBride was +2, and Grimes was +8. You think that's coincidental? The three guys I told y'all are the anchor of the defense. McBride, Grimes, and Mitch Rob plus. Hartenstein -17. Sims -4. Rose -10. Fournier -9. Fournier scored 11 points, but he was 9 points. The Knicks were 9 points worse with him on the floor. And that's because Tibbs was trying to rest dudes and had to give up defensive effort to rest guys. Somebody might ask, well, why hasn't he played Cam Reddish? Somebody brought forth a hypothesis on that yesterday, which makes a lot of sense to me. The Knicks, it's been rumored for a minute now that they're going to trade Cam. If you look at the roster, he's the most valuable trade asset. You look at his 4-year career, he's been hurt every year. So if you want to trade him, you can't allow him to get hurt, therefore he sits. It makes sense. Because he's the most valuable trade commodity the Knicks have right now. Okay? So they're going to move him, and they're trying to package him to get off of Fournier's contract. And they're trying to do it without giving up draft capital. Now, something's going to happen. But that's the story. Fournier is less likely to get hurt because his game is not as athletic as Cam's. He doesn't play that type of game. He's very slow-footed, and so he's more of a spot-up shooter, but he's not a defender. And it's like I said, as soon as those three guys came on the court, San Antonio went on a run immediately. Hartenstein can't guard a shadow. And all three of them, Hartenstein, Rose, and Fournier, are better offensive players than they are defensive players. So that hurt us. And again, Sims played 11 minutes last night. I'd like to see him play more. I don't like the Hartenstein experiment. I just don't. If the Knicks will win, and I believe still, I'm sticking with my 45 win prediction, they get to the playoffs, he's going to be a problem for us defensively. He really is. You got to get stops. Now, Mitchell Robinson was obvious. He just didn't have the energy last night. He just really didn't. And then a couple of dumb calls. And this is the thing, too. When you see Randle arguing with the refs, his head is not in the game, really. Not totally. So he was arguing with the refs. And this is the thing. He had good beef. He was getting hacked, and they weren't calling it. I will admit that. But at the same time, everyone must understand, and especially Julius, they're not going to change the call because you argue. In fact, there's this ballhead dude that once he refereed some of this game. He's the one, he will get worse when Julius jump in his face. I don't know his name, but that referee, if Julius start arguing with him, it gets worse. So the bottom line is you have to play basketball and stop looking at the referees. Don't look for any calls. Just go. And last night he was out of sync on that. He scored 41, but it doesn't tell you the story. It tells you offensively he was going off, but defensively he sucked. And he was arguing with the refs too much, which hurts us defensively because a lot of times if you don't get a call, he's the last one down the floor. The other team is running, especially a Popovich team. Quickly shot the ball tremendously well. 12 of 27, okay? He shot 5 of 12 from 3, 7 of 8 from the line, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Quickly played a great game. But his defense was also suspect a little bit. Not as bad as Julius, but suspect. And I think what hurt the Knicks also defensively was the fact that Robinson just didn't have the energy. And so Tibbs had to go to Hartenstein and Sims. And that hurt us. He wasn't going to put Cam out there and risk an injury. And I understand now. My Hyluk, maybe you'll see him because they're all tired. Now, this is the thing. They're tired because they're not used to playing this type of minutes. It's not like they can't get used to playing these minutes. They can, but they're not used to it. Okay, they're just not used to it. All we could do right now, and this is the thing, I'm not, and again, that's why I don't even want to look at Twitter today because people start tripping, fire Tibbs, trade this one, let's go get this bum, let's go get that bum and trade everybody. No. You got to keep grinding. That's all we could do, y'all. They got to keep grinding. That's all they could do. Okay? Grimes was also obviously lacking energy last night. I mean, you could see from his shooting. 1 for 10 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. He shot 6 for 6 from the line because he's automatic from the line. His defense, now, this is the thing. Grimes was saving his energy for the defensive side. As was Deuce, as was Mitch Rob. They were all conserving their energy for the defensive side of the ball. Okay? But not Julius. I would rather him play twice as good defense and score half the points. I think we'd been better as a team. But I feel like Tibbs had no choice. If you take Reddish out the equation because they're going to trade him, you know, who you got? You got Rose, you got Mihailuk, you got Fournier. So he's going to default to Rose, and I understand that. But then Fournier, I was surprised to see Fournier because of the lack of defense from the opening tip. I was like, this guy's not going to help us defensively. And he didn't. He hurt us a lot. And like I said, him, I think, I haven't looked at it, but if I look at the worst 3 combos on the Knicks, I am sure that if they have enough minutes, it's going to be Hartenstein, Rose, and Fournier. Because it's just not working, y'all. It's not working. So I don't know like what else Tom could have done. Myself, I'm looking. I'm saying, well, what else could he have done? The guys that he would trust in were tired, and the guys that he put in can't guard their shadow. So what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? So it's not, to me. I don't put this on Thibodeau at all. To me, this is just a function of the NBA season. It's a grind. You got injuries that come up. So Brunson is hurt, and Barrett is hurt, and Obi is hurt. Now, apparently, I don't know about Brunson's hit, but it was a game time decision last night, and he decided to sit. I'm hoping it's day. In fact, I think they probably list him as day to day. If I'm looking at it, I think they probably list Jalen Brunson. I'm saying Jalen Brunson is day to day. Yeah, he's day to day. Obi Toppin is out. Now Barrett, from what I understood, is that it was the laceration went into tendons on his finger. Like it was in his right hand, I think it was. It was tendons was being shown. Wasn't bone, but still tendons is pretty bad. So that's why they said up to a week. We're going to need to get Brunson back as soon as we can. Obi, I told y'all back when it happened that I looked up that injury. I'm not a doctor, but the injury they said takes 6 weeks. They said the Knicks staff and the Knicks organization put out said he will be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. That doesn't mean he was going to be back. He will be reevaluated. We're going to see where he is. Where he is overall probably brings him back, an MLK game, maybe, hopefully, But it's going to take him a while to get his rhythm, get his wind back, all of that. This is just, they're going to have to grind, y'all. And you know what? I know some of y'all going to hate me because you want misery. You want me to join in your misery because misery loves company and I ain't going to do it. But this grind is good for them. Let them go through this hell. See, this should have happened last year, but Tibbs wasn't going to do it with rookies last year, right? So this should have happened last year. Let them grind. Let them go through this hell. Let them lose these games and just keep on grinding. I like the fact that Robinson, Deuce, and Grimes were all positive. They didn't shoot the ball well because they was focusing on the defensive side of the basketball. I'm figuring like the season's not gonna crush them. None of these guys are rookies, right? But for Grimes and Deuce, this is their second year, and they didn't really get the chance to hit the rookie wall last year because they wasn't playing a lot, either because in Deuce's case he just wasn't getting the rotation, and Grimes' case he got hurt. So this is really like their rookie year. They're gonna hit the wall a little bit, but they got this is Tom Thibodeau. He's giving you minutes. You got to play, right? So I like that. And Mitch Rob has just got to get used to playing these minutes. He's our five. He's our anchor. He was trying to conserve his energy yesterday. He got some bad calls on him. I definitely saw that. But I think he'll be all right. I'm not worried about him like I wasn't worried about RJ. I'm not worried about Mitch Rob. Julius, I hope. That's why I really want Brunson to come back sooner rather than later. Julius respects Brunson. Julius feels more relaxed when Brunson's on the floor. Julius doesn't feel the need to conserve his energy defensively and use it all on offense, because Brunson is the guy that has more touches. He's the point guard. So I'd like Brunson to come back to help Julius get back to a total two-way game instead of just offensively. Yes, he scored 41. That looked great, but we lost the game. And we got to play better defensively. The game is won on the defensive end and rebounding. Now, the Knicks are one of the leading rebounding teams in the NBA, and they got out-rebounded 38-48 by 10. Now, this is the thing also. One of the big things that made me very concerned last night, during the course of the game, it was just from the beginning to the end, the Knicks weren't getting any 50-50 balls. The 50-50 balls were going all to San Antonio. That was problem number one. The Knicks had 13 offensive rebounds and San Antonio had 14. And it wasn't just the one rebound difference. Usually the Knicks dominate the offensive rebound. And Mitch Rob, this is where his fatigue was being shown. He just wasn't doing what he normally does. He was trying, but like I said, they were fatigued. So he was not getting the offensive rebounds he would normally get. He only had 6 boards last night. And 3 only on the offensive end. He really wasn't doing what he would normally do on the board. So the 50-50 balls, though, I was noticing that, and I was like, oh, shoot, we're not getting any. Every time there was a loose ball, San Antonio got it. They kept getting second and third shots at the basket. And I was like, this is not looking good. This is not good. And that wasn't even like at the end of the game. That was all through the game. And I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to turn this around, because I knew it was an energy-related thing. That was problem number one. Problem number two, okay, Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson come out of the University of Arizona at age 19. I think he was drafted by Detroit. Stanley Johnson could never hit the broadside of a bar. He really couldn't. And so what happened, the Knicks played it well with him. He came in the game, and Deuce was guarding him. And so they decided, let him shoot. Because that's the guy. If you could get a weak shooter, right, and you let him shoot the ball, that's who you want to shoot the ball. You have a better chance of getting the rebound. Deuce let him shoot twice. Deuce hit 2 threes. And I was like, wait, that's Stanley Johnson. See, when you see, and I'm not saying Stanley Johnson's a scrub. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, when the dude that shoots 30% for his career from 3 starts, he starts splashing. He was 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. I just took that as a bad omen. I was like, oh shoot, Stanley Johnson is hitting threes. That's not cool. So it was just one of those nights. 5 straight losses is not cool at all. We know that. But like I'm saying, the only answer is really they just got to keep grinding. That's all they could do. Listen. Tibbs is not getting fired, so some of y'all can get over that. And I don't even want to talk to y'all about that. It's stupid to me. We just keep mentioning it. Like, y'all don't understand. I've been a Knicks fan for 50 years, and I've heard this refrain too much. Fire Homer. Whatever coach you name. Fire so-and-so. Fire so-and-so. And some of y'all are new generation Knicks fans, and so you're not used to it like I am. I'm tired of hearing it. And I know we got a good coach. Some of y'all don't like Tibbs because y'all wouldn't like anybody we had unless they win the championship. I'm not into that. We're developing. This is year 3. I know we got a good front office. I have trust in them. I don't want to hear y'all. I'm not even talking to you about that. So, but there's not much he could do. Really. There's not much he could do. Play Sims more. Okay, let's say he did. Let's say he played Hartenstein 5 minutes yesterday and gave 21 minutes to Sims. That would have helped, but we would have still lost the game. Okay, okay, and I don't know. Maybe if he played Mihailuk and sat Fournier, maybe I don't know. But those are ancillary things. That wasn't gonna win the game for us. The fact is, he's got to play the guys that he played. Randle, Robinson, McBride, Quickly, Grimes. He's got to play those guys. Okay? If he had Brunson and RJ and Obi, he'd play them. He's got to play them. But he don't have them. So what you gonna do? So right now, they just got to grind. So today is Friday. They're off. I think they play Sunday. I think the next game is Sunday. So they better get, treatment. They better get their treatment, get their rest, all of that, because they play in Houston Sunday. Houston's been playing good ball. They play the 31st. Well, no, that's tomorrow. They play tomorrow. They play Houston tomorrow at 7. See, I wanted them to go 2-1 on this road trip. They could very easily go 0-3. I ain't fronting. I'm just trying to be real with y'all. They could go 0-3. I hope that the kids' youth cause them to recover and be ready to play tomorrow night. I hope. Because they were in San Antonio. So it's probably like, if they fly to Houston, it's not even an hour. So it's a short flight and from San Antonio. And they should be able to rest, get treatment today. I think, based on the fact that yesterday was a game time decision on Jalen Brunson. Like, in other words, he was thinking about playing all the way up until game time. Maybe he'd be ready tomorrow. If he is, that's better for us. I like that, because then you could start him next to Grimes, and you'd probably start quickly. I don't know. You're going to have to start. That's the problem. RJ's missing is the problem. And not being able to use Cam because they're trying to trade him is the problem. They're not going to start Mihailuk. So, and please don't start Fournier. So they're going to have to start quickly. They may start Deuce to make the defense solid. I noticed he did play Deuce yesterday. He kept him in the game extended minutes. And I know it was because of the defense, because Deuce was focused on the D yesterday. He played 31 minutes. Grimes played 37 minutes. Mitch Robb played 28 minutes. Quickly and Randle played 43 apiece because they were scoring. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see similar tomorrow. I don't want to see Fournier again. The defense was horrible. I can't stand watching bad defense. And Fournier, and I really don't want to see Hartenstein again, but I know they're going to play him. I'm trying to be realistic. They're going to play him. He's going to still come off the bench first after Mitch Robb. But I'd like to see Sims more. I really would, because daggone, that kid can't. This Hartenstein cannot play any defense. He's just too slow-footed. He really is, and he gets exploited. D Rose, I don't mind getting more D Rose. Just limit him and put him out there with defenders, and he's the more effective. But we're going to see what happens. So right now, when they go in to play Houston. What's Houston? Let me see Houston's injury report. Them cats have been playing ball. Houston been playing ball, man. I ain't front. Houston been playing ball. The Rockets been playing ball. I don't know what their record is, but I just know they've been taking, like, they took Celtics to the limit the other day. They would play. So all they mission is Jay Sean Tate. That's it. The rest of their crew is there, and they're pretty good. So they start up Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr. They start Eric Gordon, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. is all-star talent. He just had off-court issues, and that's why I said I thought they might be interested in IQ, because they only guaranteed 1 year of his extension. But talent-wise, Kevin Porter Jr. is all-star talent. He really is. He's that good. So he can. This is not gonna be easy, yo. Just telling you, this is not gonna be easy. I don't like it, but like I said. As the Knicks right now, being realistic about it, they are not going to fire Tom Thibodeau, which I'm glad. They are not going to play Cam Reddish because they want to trade him. And so we just got to hope that the guys that we got, that's really the 9-man rotation, comes back healthy, which would be Obi, JB, and RJ, to add to the guys that we have to make the real 9-man rotation. But Yeah, this is hurting us right now. It's just is what it is. Knicks are 5-5 in their last 10. They're now the eighth seed, half a game behind Miami and a full game behind the Pacers, who won last night against Cleveland. Yeah, this is, brethren. That's all we could do. They just got to continue to grind. That's all. And we just got to hope that they get rested up and fight through this. This is a wall they got to fight through. Period. End of story. That's all they could do. And I'm going to believe they're going to be able to do it. I'm not, like I said, again, I'm not blaming Tom Thibodeau at all. I'm not. Is he the perfect coach? No, but it ain't his fault. This is just is what it is. They got to grind to go through. Let's do that. Okay. Anyway, please be safe out here. Now, one of the biggest nights of accidents and death in the United States, one of the biggest, not the biggest, but is New Year's Eve, when people drive drunk, when people going to parties, pulling out guns in clubs. Please be careful. Myself, ever since I was in New York, I never went out. I never went out on New Year's. Everybody would go down. My cousins, my uncles, and came for the 42nd Street one year from Canada, and I said, "I'm sorry, Uncle, I'm staying." I was never one to have to go out there and see the ball because I know people act crazy. One year I went out to go up to the Bronx, and I walked into a building with some friends of mine, and somebody threw, this was New Year's Eve, and somebody threw a whole thing of firecrackers, and then we thought it was guns, and I was like, okay, that's enough. I ain't doing that no more. And so be safe out there, be careful out there. It's you know, it's crazier now than when I was a young boy, and that's crazy. So please be safe. Please be careful. Do not drink and drive. If you're going to drink, make sure somebody else is driving that's not drinking. Or like me, if I'm gonna drink in my house, and I'm just gonna go on my couch and go to sleep. Or if I have friends that are drinking over my house, I'm gonna tell them y'all staying. If somebody is not drinking, or y'all spending the night, because nobody's gonna drive out here with alcohol in their system. So please be safe. Please be careful. Enjoy yourself. Shalom.